Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Black Rims. I'm Mars Girl.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
And, what episode number is this?
This is episode 4.
4? Because it feels like a lot longer thanks to those betas and tests ones. Man, but we've been pretty regular, actually.
Yeah, we've been pretty much doing this for a month now, all of February.
That's pretty awesome.
That's pretty cool.
What have you been up to?
Not too much. I've been watching a lot of stuff and reading, and I'm waiting to get a hold of the Monster Hunter Tri demo for 3DS because I want to play it.
You're waiting for me to get a hold of the Monster Hunter Tri demo.
Yes, that's what I meant. I'm still waiting.
It's in the car, I'm sorry.
Alright, well, I'll go look for the charger then. What about you? What are you doing this week?
Well, I got a video from this past weekend at GatoCon that hopefully actually will be up tonight, the same night that I get this podcast online, too. So, it's a video of the That Guy with the Glasses panel that featured myself and Linkara and Obscurus Lupa. So, an hour of us just talking about stuff with people. Small con, but a very good crowd.
They were very hospitable.
Very, quite. And they treated us really nicely, and for some reason we had a table that I wasn't aware that we had, but that's okay, because we made use of it.
That is true.
So, I guess there's really not much to talk about before getting into all of our different topics. So let's talk about what topics are coming up. Here in a little bit, I'm going to be talking about the new Dance Dance Revolution game that just got unveiled by Konami, purely named Dance Dance Revolution.
I'm going to be talking about the debut of the 37th installment in Super Sentai Kyoryuger.
And to wrap everything up, the PlayStation 4 has been unveiled, and...
Well, not exactly, but we're going to go ahead and talk about it anyway.
Well, it's been officially announced.
Yes, officially announced.
So, those are things we will be talking about. But before that...
Oh, speaking of which, this week we're going to be trying something a little different. We are going to try and incorporate sound effects every so often into this podcast, so bear with us if things get ever so slightly annoying. Like, if I do, say, a bad joke, you'll hear...
Or, let's say that we've got another joke that's slightly better or something. You know, stuff like that.
All provided by InstantRibShot.com.
InstantRimShot.com.
I am sorry. Well, anyway,
really, I would like to be recording this a little bit better. I'm not gonna lie to you. At the moment, I'm recording everything through my microphone. I would like to be doing stereo mix, but I'm struggling to make it function tonight. Don't worry, everything will sound better soon. We're still working to create a very well-rounded podcast, so we're still stumbling. So thank you.
It's a process, but it's coming along. It's coming along. Well, anyway, to start with tonight, we're gonna go ahead and do a follow-up to last week's video. We had a comment not too long ago from Toth Laszlo 1985, who was pointing out to us that Disney is, in addition to acquiring Marvel and Lucasfilms, is actually in the process of trying to go after Hasbro as an acquisition.
And Hasbro, of course, owns not only the things that he mentions here, like Wizards of the Coast, but also...
And Nerf.
Nerf. So, can you imagine what would come about from Disney owning Hasbro? Like, he mentions Wizard of the Coast and specifically Dungeons and Dragons, so, like, Disney role-playing? Which people already do, but now there'd, like, be books.
Right.
That'd be a little scary.
Well, it's like, you already have...
Disney-themed Magic the Gathering cards?
I don't even want to think about that hardly. Because that...
What if you had Avenger-themed Magic the Gathering cards?
Yeah, but, like, an Avengers-themed type small game that you can play with friends, that's just basically hero clicks, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's not cards.
I know, but why put it into card form?
Because cards are a lot cheaper to collect.
Well, yeah, but it's like, why?
Because they're made of paper.
And it's got Captain America on it, therefore I want it. That's the logic they're assuming
You had to go after those stupid Power Rangers cards.
Hey, they were Okay, yeah, they were a little stupid.
Cheap.
Those were hella cheap. Those weren't even on card stock. This was like
they were like, achoo! Oh, it's ruined.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'll admit, ever since we got those for, what was it, last week or the week before's podcast, I haven't touched them because just looking at them, I'm afraid I'm gonna bend them. They're so flimsy.
But to think about, because the point of the previous week's podcast was the Nerf weapons.
Right.
So, how would you Disney theme a Nerf weapon? Like, we already have, Marvel-themed sort of Nerf stuff.
Right, like Iron Man, or specifically for the Avengers, they had a little wrist launcher that shot out darts. Captain America's shield shot out a little foam disc.
The Titan got green-colored and Hulk-themed at one point.
And the big bad bow, they just slapped the Avengers logo on it.
Hammer.
And the Nerf hammer, which you have finally acquired.
I love the Thor hammer. It's amazing.
And then you do the bonk on the head jokes with it.
Well, you do. I don't.
Well, yeah, but you get bonked on the head, and it's funny.
Bonk on the head.
Yep. It's funny. Herp to dur. Anyway, but personally, it's like, Disney, you guys have enough. Let somebody have something. You guys are like what was it you said? The Tetsuo of companies just absorbing everything onto itself.
Yeah, you see that last scene in Akira, and he's all just kind of this big blob that's this amalgamation of stuff.
Yeah.
I can feel Lucas's pain!
Yeah, but this is more than that. I can feel the not pain of a foam dart.
Because you don't feel them when they hit you, as was noted during the MagFest Nerf war, because nobody would go down.
Yeah, well, you could take a tag dart to the eye, scratch your cornea.
Somebody
that would hurt.
Complained about that.
Yeah, that's a legit hurt.
So that was one topic. Somebody else had brought up that they would like to see us as well, not just listen to us. And I know, like, I have started an RSS feed, and I'll try and get a link to that within the video description here a little later. But, so those are all MP3s that you'll be able to download and take with you wherever you want. But since we are throwing this on YouTube, how many of you do in fact want to see us as we speak and communicate with each other? Is that something you even want at all?
I mean, we'll do it. I mean, it's not that hard.
It's not that hard, I just don't think that it'll look very good. Granted, it doesn't sound very good right now either.
But if you guys want it, we'll deliver.
So yeah, if you don't care, then we won't care. But if you do care, then we will care for you.
Exactly.
So
having said that, we'll go ahead and get on to the first topic. And that's gonna get annoying real quick. I'm just saying that right now.
Well,
the little Reading Rainbow segue.
I wish, in Reading Rainbow, it actually, because they had 3 times that it happened in an episode.
Right.
Where the first kid talks about one book, don't take my word for it, beep beep. Right. And then the next kid says, don't take my word for it, and then it goes up in key.
Yeah.
And then the last kid, don't take my word for it, doop. Unfortunately, it doesn't have all 3 increments of it, so I just have to deal with the one. In any case, so at the what I don't know how to pronounce this.
JAEPO.
JAEPO, an arcade game expo in Tokyo. Konami gave us Dance Dance Revolution, simply called that, Dance Dance Revolution, and it apparently has almost all the songs ever from all the major 13 previous releases, plus 18 new songs from Konami and other J-pop and anime songs that they haven't released on the machines before. So, this, of course, would be the 14th installment in this very long-running dance game series, and, I'm a DDR fan. I love DDR.
I think that's putting it mildly.
I still play DDR regularly, and, there are older machines still floating around town, and I think there's an X machine somewhere at some, like, Peter Piper Pizza on the south side somewhere.
I believe so.
That I don't really want to go to, but,
Was.
all I'm saying is that we're probably never going to see this machine.
What?
Not in this town.
Well, you can hope.
No! San Antonio's too lame for a new DDR machine. I'm wondering, though, as much as I love DDR, with the way that the rhythm game has evolved, is DDR too archaic?
I would say no.
You don't think?
No, because what was appealing about Dance Dance Revolution in the beginning is still appealing today. It's a fun game. Just about anybody can pick it up. You can still use it for weight loss purposes. And there's still going to be those tournament guys who want to beat the hell out of somebody using this game.
It is very much a tournament-style game where people do, in fact, want to whoop up and talk smack, and it's unfortunately the Smash Brothers of video games.
As far as rhythm gaming is concerned.
Yeah, that's basically what I mean by that. Looking at the machine, it's a very slim, sleek-looking white cabinet. At least these ones at the Expo. It's a very clean-looking machine. Flat screen. Now, the X series had flat screens in them. HD screens, although I don't know how badly you need your arrows to be HD. Although, the jump between, say, 5th Mix and 7th, which was 7th was Max.
Yeah.
Max and Max 2. Admittedly, the jump between those two, you can definitely see.
It's like night and day.
Yeah. It's almost too hard to read older arrows now from 1st on up through 5th.
Now, I don't know about that. I started on a 3rd Mix machine, so I could still read that if you provided me with one right now.
Did you do DDR USA?
No, I respected myself too much. But no, now that I'm thinking about it, there is still a chance that some other places around here will get it. Because, yeah, your average Joe Schmo arcade shops are few and far between nowadays. We still have places like around here, Main Event in Texas, or even Dave & Buster's that might pick up this machine.
You're right. Although Dave & Buster's, for some reason, has been leaning more towards pump-it-up machines than it has been DDR machines. And that new Main Event that just got put into San Antonio, and I guess there's a second one that, I don't know if it's opened yet or not, but
I think
it's at
they're
least
still constructing it, as far as I know.
That new one, it had that touchscreen rhythm game that was done by Roxor Games. They released In the Groove, the DDR ripoff, and then Konami sued them. I can't remember the name of that game, but that's the only rhythm game they have there, and they don't have any dance games.
Right.
So
from my perspective, that means there's a prime opening for that, because if they're competing, their prime competition, Main Event I'm talking about, if Main Event's prime competition is Dave & Buster's, and Dave & Buster's carries Pump It Up, which requires you to use your feet, it would only make sense that a I guess you'd call it a restaurant, or what would you call it?
It's just a big old entertainment center. Like, they've got this ropes course for some reason.
Yeah, well, this entertainment place,
bowling and drinks and food.
would only benefit from carrying this new brand spanking awesome machine.
Well, it would, except the way I feel about the competition between Dave & Buster's and Main Event, you know, those kind of entertainment, food, drink, and video game sort of places, is that, like, Pump It Up is really easy to get a hold of because for some reason it just picked up a lot of speed in North America, and I want to say they're comparatively cheap because, you know, it's this Korean company that puts them out. They put a little less effort into their background animations and stuff. And they had a really rapid growth in fan base and tournament fan base, and surprisingly, really, really big boom in Mexico.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if our distance from Mexico has anything to do with the number of Pump It Up machines we end up seeing. But no, Mexico is a huge Pump It Up community. So I just sort of feel like these places are sort of feeling like DDR was the cool thing once, but maybe isn't anymore. You know, over in Diversions, here in town, we've got this little arcade place that's mostly older machines called Diversions, and they've got a DDR Extreme machine. And
Right.
Extreme came out in 2001, and next to that machine, they still have this newspaper article clipping that's like, it's karaoke for your feet. And that was published somewhere around that same time.
Yeah, that same year.
Like, they're still so proud of that the newspaper came down and talked about DDR down there, but it's so old.
Well, if you want to talk about it being archaic, you're framing a newspaper clipping. Like, who does that anymore?
Well, they framed it like 12 years ago. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, realize what you just said.
Oh, jeez.
But now, see, I still think there's very much prime opportunity for a new game cabinet for Dance Dance Revolution to take off, because, you know, say what you want, at least for me, personal opinion, I always loved the song selection on DDR over Pump It Up any day of the week.
I did too, and I felt that the dance it was more fun to dance to DDR songs than it was to In the Groove songs. Now, In the Groove, you know, that kind of also fed into the Stepmania environment, because actually they kind of worked together. I believe they actually shared the same format, and so and it had the most wild step patterns, and everyone will always...
Well, it's because they were designed for fingers, not feet.
Yeah, everyone who really kind of graduated from DDR is like, well, In the Groove is obviously the better game because it's way harder, and, you know, just kind of evolved away from DDR. Well, okay, but there's still this love, like, it started with DDR,
right?
Of course. But that's the thing, though. It's like rhythm gaming has evolved. And take Para Para Paradise, for example, also released by Konami. And you've got these 5 sensors on the ground and above your head that you have to swing your hands through, and it's to emulate dancing. But really all you have to do is shove your hands through the sensors.
Right.
You don't actually have to dance. Now that we have things like the Kinect, that
and
is
Dance Central.
And Dance Central and Dance Masters released
and
by
Just
Konami.
Dance.
But specifically Dance Masters, because it takes the Para Para songs and put it in the game, and it reads your movements. You now no longer need sensors that to fake that you're dancing. Now you actually have to dance. And I'm just wondering at what point we will have an arcade machine that utilizes similar technology that just is like a Kinect inside of an arcade cabinet, and then you actually have to worry about dancing, not stepping on or waving hands over sensors to hit arrows.
I would think that for something like that, it'd be a little bit too expensive to develop.
You think? I mean,
because,
it's
granted,
you can obviously buy the Kinect for home use.
Well, something about it just doesn't seem applicable on a wide arcade sort of release system, because you think about it, something like Pump It Up or DDR is something you can look at, see somebody else do, and be like, okay, I can kind of, okay, I hit the arrow, and then I wait, and then I hit the arrow, and then I wait. Whereas, I would think to a first-timer, where walking up to somebody playing, say, Dance Central, and you see them, I mean, granted, they have the moves there for you, but something seems a little simpler about just giving somebody an arrow versus, okay, copy a movement.
Yeah, well...
Like, it's easier for the layman to just pick up.
Well, I think people sort of get intimidated they would get intimidated with Para Para Paradise, too, because the idea was to eventually memorize this dance routine. Despite the fact that all you really had to do was hit arrows, people memorized full, big, wide, sweeping arm movements for all these different dance routines. And admittedly, yeah, that does look intimidating. And then people are like, I don't know how to do that. And then you're like, oh, well, just hit the arrows. And then they just hit the arrows, and they're like, this doesn't look anything like what you were doing. And so,
because it's not.
And they only ever released 2 versions of Para Para Paradise. They only got up to a second mix. And then there was a Korean version, but nobody cares about that. So, So I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's like actual dancing, when put into an arcade experience, is too intimidating for a casual person.
Well, because I look at it, just even a few days ago, we were out at another arcade where people were still playing DDR Extreme. And there was still a line, and there are still people who will stand there and watch somebody else play it. And it doesn't matter who it is, whether they're, whooping on max 300, or they're just a beginner playing Butterfly. People still stop to watch, and people still think, hey, come on, try it. And it's like, okay, all right. And then, they'll do that forward arrow, both feet in the center, left arrow, both feet in the center, and that has not changed in 12 years.
And the person standing behind who's been doing it for at least 12 years is like, no, you don't have to return to the center every time you take a step. Cut it out. Stop it, please.
Are you having a flashback?
They're returning to the middle!
Yeah, well, I say that much. Bring it over, I will play it.
Oh, of course I'll play it, and especially because there's not enough places left that have older machines. For example, fourth and fifth mixes were very well sought after and very difficult to find in most areas. I'd say Extreme is the easiest to find.
Extreme and Max 2.
Max 2, yeah. So, I welcome this new, very sleek, white, thin DDR cabinet.
That might give me the chance to play Hot Limit for the first time in ever.
And, I'll play it.
Definitely. Anyway, moving on. My topic this week, just this past weekend, we had the debut of the 37th entry in the Super Sentai series over in Japan, of course, where we end up eventually getting Power Rangers 4 over here. Juden Sentai Kyoryuger just debuted in the Superhero Time block, and a couple of people were asking my thoughts on it, and of course I had to watch it first, and I have, and well, here we go. I'll start by saying this. The last series before this, Tokume Sentai Go Busters, I was not a fan. I tried watching it, I tried sticking with it, and I really did, because just like I say with any series that I start, I go in with a fresh slate, I have an idea of what to expect, and then, you see where we go from there, because everything's got to change the formula just a little bit. For me, Go Busters tried too hard to be serious/cool to where it just kind of took me out of it. Whereas here, with Kyoryuger, they are very much getting back to, no, we know what we're aiming for here. The demographic's younger than most people who tune in 30 minutes later to watch Kamen Rider. Let's aim at that. Let's make it louder. Let's make it funnier. And they seem to be delivering on that. Right off the bat, we're introduced to 5 different characters, 4 of which, oddly enough, aren't named in the first episode. That's a little weird. But I appreciate that they did this. The Japanese love wordplay. So what they've done here is the names of all the 5 Rangers, both their first name and last name, when you take the first syllable of each, no matter what language it's in, whether it be English or Japanese, it spells out dinosaur. And I guess I should have specified to begin with, the theme of this series is going back to dinosaurs, just like... Again, for the third time, just like Zyuranger or Aba Ranger. What we know over here is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers or Dino Thunder. And there was a very interesting topic brought up by the chief producer, Takehito Omori, saying that because of the tone of what they're going for in this series, trying to make it very strong, very intense, that they made the purposeful decision to not include a Yellow Ranger. And the reason for this being is that for the last couple of years, save with a few exceptions, the most recent being in Maji Ranger, most Sentai Yellow members are female. And in order to promote the strength of this current team, they decided to not even cast a male Yellow. They just didn't want a Yellow, period, because they thought it would be associating the show with weakness, and that current fans wouldn't get that. To which I'm like...
So they only have one female in the group.
Yes, there's only one female in the group, and she's the Pink Ranger.
Oh man, I thought I'd shut my phone off.
Yeah, that was a good time to have a wah-wah moment, because really it's like... I don't get that. I mean, admittedly, over here in America, we're not used to very many male Yellow Rangers. We only had 2 over here. Of course, going in with their counterparts, but we've changed the sex over here several times from what was male over there to female over here.
Most notably, originally,
yeah,
our first Power Rangers, Yellow was a boy named Boy.
Yeah, exactly. By now, most people know that, but yeah, the Yellow Ranger originally in Zyudanger was a male named Boy. Yeah, process that for a second. But over here, I don't see the point in that necessarily, because, like I said, we've had not too long ago. I mean, I guess you could call, I guess 7 years ago, at least within the last 10 years, a male Yellow who, for my money, was my favorite in that series, in Magi Ranger, because it was a very well-told story. And I don't think color should matter so much when you're telling a story.
I don't think gender should matter so much.
Well, that too, really. But aside from that...
I think that's the major point, that, like, you're concerned about color, when I think the bigger issue is gender. And I know that this topic could sound very feminazi,
yeah,
but at the same time, this guy comes across very sexist.
Yes, I get that. And the thing about that is, even earlier, well, I shouldn't say early, even more recently in Engine Sentai Go-Onger, well, no, originally we started out with a 5-member team, and there was only one female, again, a Yellow. But that didn't necessarily bring about weakness. It doesn't matter whether it's a Yellow or a Pink. You didn't have to come out and say, well, we purposely kicked off a female Yellow. That's the jerk move right there, is what I think.
That you combined the idea that Yellow had to be a chick.
And had to be, therefore, weak.
Mm-hmm.
Which, to me, goes against a lot of stuff, because in most cases, the female Yellow members are some of the best, most capable, and in personal opinion, some of the hottest, but that I don't want to get into the sexist argument there, just saying personal taste. But they're good characters, they're solid characters, and I don't think any less of them. So why he had to go and say that, I don't know why. It's not going to win over any fans, having said that.
Well, it's sort of the same thing as what I brought up in a couple episodes back, talking about AKB48 and what the girls in Japanese pop culture are allowed to do with themselves, and what the dudes are allowed to do with themselves in their own personal free time. While Japan is sort of working on equality, they are so not there yet. So incredibly not there yet.
I am aware of this, I am aware.
Because, like take for example, going around Japan with a group of friends a couple years back, and I was the only woman in the group. Everybody else was a dude. And so the first people that anybody would, when they would see us and they'd try to communicate with us, like at the train station or wherever, to try and get information from us and ask us questions about where we want to go or whatever, they'd go to the tallest male in the group first. What was funny was that I was the one that knew the most Japanese, so when I answered in return, they looked shocked and confused, and then they just started communicating like normal, but their base instinct was not to talk to me, the woman. I'm just saying, like, there were instances where it was like, their racism and their sexism is just a little bit cute. Like, it doesn't keep me from doing much of anything, but it was a little bit noticeable. Quite noticeable. But
well, it's an interesting thing to bring up when you look at these, specifically the list of the Rangers here, and specifically I reference the Black Ranger, Kyoryu Black, whose character name is Ian Yorkland. This is another case, and it's happened before, of a native Japanese person playing a foreigner.
What, you saying a Japanese person can't live somewhere else, Josh?
No, are you?
Saying?
Is that what you're saying?
Because
Because I didn't say that.
I'm pretty sure you're implying that.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Please continue.
Yes, but I don't see any problem there. You know, if you want to get nitpicky about that.
Oh, they throw English into everywhere because they think English is cool. And
well, yeah, I mean, heck, they throw around the term brave in this episode, or actually they're going to do it repeatedly every episode. The titles will be Brave 1, Brave 2, and so on and so forth throughout the series. But really getting to the show, it's funny. The basic story is that there's this evil group of aliens who wiped out the dinosaurs. Guess what, guys? It wasn't a meteor.
It was aliens.
It was aliens.
Aliens wiped out the dinosaurs.
Except this tall bird guy named Torin gave a few dinosaurs extra power to be like robotic, and then they stopped the aliens. And then they froze the aliens and put them in the Antarctic. But then the aliens defrosted, and then they woke up, and then the bird guy's like, oh man, they're awake. Now I need people to use the dinosaur power. And now we have Kyoryuger. They're here! Okay, first off, I gotta say that. They've decided to go with an announcer.
I'm pretty sure you shocked every listener away. Look at the jump on the audio.
Okay. The reason I did that is because they've decided to go with this announcer who is so very, not just impassioned about the script that he's being given to read, but he is yelling at the top of their lungs, at the top of his lungs about the arrival of these new heroes, and I'm like, whoa, okay, dial it back. You're at an 11, I need you down at a 5, alright?
No child would get excited at a 5.
I know, but even then, even you watched this with me, and even you thought that was a bit much.
Yeah, because this guy is like, alright, you guys, come on, just check this out! Check this out, we got dinosaurs, you guys! They're real freaking dinosaurs! They're freaking awesome, and you kids are gonna love them! It's Kyoryuger!
Yeah, exactly. And, man, that would have been a good point to put in the cricket noise. But but anyway, we're introduced to the Rangers, primarily the Red Ranger, Daigo, who prefers that everybody call him King. We have a case of another hot-blooded, go-get-em Red Ranger, similar to other Rangers in the past, like John from Geki Ranger, or even to a certain extent, but not quite, Captain Marvelous from Gokaiger. And again, for my personal taste, I prefer those kinds of Reds. Either, go-get-em types, or very much a leader. A stoic leader, kind of like in Bokenger. Boken Red was you could see him like, no, he's a leader. I can trust that guy. I can follow that guy. And here, they're doing an interesting dynamic where the other members don't necessarily know who the others are. And I find that an interesting...
They have secret identities from each other.
Yes. And that...
Except for Red, who's all like, nope, gonna tell you guys who I am.
Right. And I think that's an interesting take on it. I'd like to see where they go with that. I mean, obviously, after a certain point, I don't give it very long before they all end up finding out, oh, so you're the guy in the blue costume. Oh, all right.
Oh, they probably find it out, like, every episode or every other episode.
Yeah, they won't have secrets, I wouldn't think, past episode 10, if not 5 or something like that. If they keep it beyond that, I'll be surprised.
So the dynamic of this show, it's like, it is totally a cartoon, basically, a live-action cartoon. It's very childish, it's very cartoonish, and yet it is so pumped and so excited knowing exactly what it is. Like, to compare this to just now the new Ranger series that got released over here.
Oh, yeah,
with
Megaforce.
I somehow find this more enjoyable than that, despite the fact that this is like, yep, we are totally and completely for children. Not gonna get around that fact.
Now, see,
it's just that it's like Megaforce is for children, but it also thinks that it's serious and it's doing a really bad job at it. It's almost like a parody.
Yeah. And really, to a certain extent, that's how I felt about Go Buster.
And so, yeah, I can see what you mean by that. But
Whereas
but
here,
the fact that there's pure honesty in we know what we are, we know kids will love us, and we want the kids to love us. So, let's just be positive and go get things done.
Yeah, and I think it's really showing. I think it's definitely going to have a strong fan base. I mean, not that it doesn't already, but since this just premiered, I think people will get attached to these characters and like these characters. In specific, I'm watching out for the Blue Ranger, who, interestingly enough, most Rangers over in Japan are between the ages of, say, 18 and, like, 21, 22, something like that. You know, young heroine, hero age. The interesting choice that was made with Blue is that they have purposely decided, the head writer, to make him 32 years old, which is...
It's pretty dated.
That's pretty old for a hero, because he's... They said they did this on purpose to bring in some old man jokes, but really, the head writer was quoted as saying, "We settled on 32. Really what I wanted him to be was a 45-year-old father. That way people older than the children watching could relate." And I'm like, shoot, I'd high-five this guy, because that's...
I'll high-five you.
All right, I'll high-five you. Because... that's making somebody aware that there is an older audience watching. It's not just the kid watching, it's the parent sitting with the kid, in some cases, watching this show. And when you leave something in there for them, it makes it more applicable.
Well, it makes it a family experience,
yes,
too.
Exactly. Even you reference, it's funny, the mentor for the Rangers here, Torin, quite similarly, you brought up something about Torin's Passage.
I love Torin's Passage,
but it's that same thing about there being something for the kid in terms of simplistic gameplay, whereas the adult can appreciate the humor that is brought in there that a kid wouldn't necessarily get.
Completely over a child's head in that. Yeah, the gameplay in Torin's Passage is it's point and click adventure. Sierra did lots of those kinds of games before, and in most of their previous titles prior to Torin's Passage, if you clicked something wrong, if you made the wrong decision, you could completely screw up your game and not even be able to finish it. However, in Torin's Passage, it was a very family-friendly, like, Al Rowe, I believe his name was, he said, well, Mrs. Doubtfire. I liked the movie Mrs. Doubtfire because it was funny for the kids, and then there was some stuff that they wouldn't get, but I did. So I want to be able to sit down with my kids and be able to play a game with them that I made, and I don't have to keep them away from it. And so both the parent and the kid could play this game and enjoy two completely different aspects of it. So it would have been nice had Kyoryuger been able to implement a slightly older Ranger. I mean, 32,
we got one.
32
is an accomplishment.
Yeah, it's a pretty good compromise.
And the thing about that is there has been proof before that when you do this in a tokusatsu, there is an audience for it. I reference Kamen Rider Hibiki, which was drastically different from its predecessors, where it came at it more, I guess I would say, like a primetime drama than a children's show. But the thing about it was they had a solid cast, good writing, and a main lead character who not only kids could look up to, but actually housewives, the moms who were watching with the kids, really not only found this guy attractive, but liked him as a role model, and they were like, yeah, go ahead, watch the show. Unfortunately, as time played out, toy sales deterred this way of writing for a completely different thing, and the show as a whole suffered around episode 32, but I'm hoping here it's not the same thing, that they don't get mucked up in that sort of thing.
Oh,
and
they wouldn't, because it's only one of the guys who is old, and then they'll just have young people making fun of him. Ha ha ha, you're so old, this is such a funny joke.
But at the same time, we don't have to worry about the toy sales, because here, I'll talk about gimmick for a second. Again, yes, we're dealing with dinosaurs, kids love dinosaurs, but the way they use their tech, for one thing, it's interesting that their transformation device is a revolver, a gun, basically like to me it looks like a dinosaur-themed Maverick. And they have to do this little dance every time they transform, and some people be like, that's lame. I'm like, Yeah, but they're still gonna do it.
Children's television show.
Yeah, so by now, I would think most of the kids watching have already memorized the little step, and a couple of people my age as well. You know,
Have you?
Not yet, but I'll probably have it by Sunday. Anyway, their tech is interesting enough. You know, it's your basic sword gun combo. They've got this little belt thing that uses their new collectible item, which is dino batteries.
They look like double A's to me.
Yeah, they pretty much look like double A's, except each one has a different dinosaur on it. But they all make noise, so naturally kids are going to want to collect them. Noises, yeah.
Children like noises.
Noises and colors. But I'm not shorting them for this. I think it's fine. I'm liking the vibe. I like the music for the most part. It's an interesting thing to hear samba, since they've never really tried this with a Super Sentai series, but it could be worse.
Well, I get it, because dinosaurs lived in tropical environments.
Right, so samba then makes sense.
Yes.
Because tropical environment in both cases. But I'm remaining hopeful for this one, as I do with other things. Hopefully they don't get bogged down with the episode... usually it's around 18 where they introduce the 6th Ranger, and after that they don't know where to go, sort of thing. But only time will tell with that. This is getting... We need to find another transition, for real.
You were the one who suggested that we use it.
I did?
Yes.
Oh, I retract my submission.
Oh, fine.
Anyway. All right,
PlayStation 4!
PlayStation 4,
Yay!
people.
Well, not really all that yay.
Yeah, it's more like, yeah, huh?
More like, okay, so it's the PlayStation 3, but not?
Well,
what is it? Because we don't know what this thing looked like. Okay, was it last night?
Yesterday. Yesterday.
Wednesday had Sony unveiled, quote-unquote, unveiled the PlayStation 4, because we didn't see this machine, okay?
No.
Okay, we saw the controller.
Right.
And we saw this wannabe Kinect camera peripheral.
Right.
But we did not see a console. Apparently, the console is not yet finished. But
really?
That's what I'm reading. So, they unveil this thing. It's got a bunch of flashy images at the start of the conference of all this video game footage from PlayStation 1 up through PlayStation 3, and it's like, yes, you did make those games. That's not what I'm here for now. I'm here to learn about your new thing.
For one thing, it might be the nitpicky thing to go over, but did they give every presenter at this conference a Valium before they went on stage? Because they were so, to me anyway, unenthused in what they were talking about. It was like, we are here to talk to you about all the stuff we did before, and now to announce the new thing, PlayStation 4. It's like, did you guys really need to copy Reggie from Nintendo that bad? Was that necessary?
Well, somebody's got to compete with the Reginator.
I don't have to.
Well, if not you, then who will? Sony will.
Uh-huh.
So we did see the DualShock 4. Guess what? It looks a lot like the previous DualShocks. Except for the fact that apparently there's this little touch thing.
A touch screen right there in the middle between the two.
It's not a screen. It's just a touch
pad
thing.
Well, okay, you're holding a DualShock in your hand. You've got your finger on the left trigger, finger on the right trigger, both thumbs on the sticks.
Yeah, how do you reach?
Yeah,
for this
what's gonna
thing?
hit that? Are you gonna use your nose? Are you gonna use your tongue? How does that even work?
But then it apparently also has this light bar thing. Okay, because it's wireless, obviously, because we live in a wireless age. And where there once would be cord coming out of the back of your PS1 or PS2 controller, there's now this little blue light bar, which I assume it apparently is for identification, so the system knows which controller is player 1, which is player 2.
So one will glow red, one will glow blue.
Well, I don't know about that. All I have seen is blue thus far.
Well, I would think colored the color difference would be how you identify...
Actually, yeah, color coding.
Yeah, see? There you go.
Okay, it does have color coding. Here we see its new camera, which, again, much like the Kinect, it has 2 cameras, so, like the human eye, it will be able to see depth. So it's a PS4 Kinect.
It still looks like the camera that came with the PS2.
What, the Move?
Yeah.
Or the iToy?
Yeah, the iToy, that's what I meant. Except in stick form.
Yeah, it's longer rather than stout. So then we learn about, what this thing can do. It has 8 gigabytes of RAM.
My laptop has 8 gigabytes of RAM.
Our laptops have 8 gigabytes of RAM. I mean, I guess that's cool. My laptop passed with flying colors the benchmark for Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn. That's cool. Which is kind of funny, because I just watched the A Realm Reborn footage for touring the new environment, and they showed back-to-back PC version against PS3 version.
Right.
And the PS3 version was looking a little on the choppy side.
Right, so if that's how we're taking it with just the PS3, so the PS4 will be comparable to the PC footage?
Perhaps. It should be if my game was running okay, my benchmark was running okay. Here's what they really want to accomplish as far as... they want to be so ridiculously social.
Yes.
They want you to be able to take Sony with you wherever you go, whatever you're doing, no matter what. Oh, are you playing a game? Oh, your friends know that you're playing a game, even though they're way over at work and they're on Facebook when they should really be working, and they know that you're playing a game. And
or, hey, I'm over here playing this game. Oh, I'm at a really hard level. Man, I wish I had some friends to help me out. Oh, hey, look.
Well, then apparently somebody from across the world, one of your friends from across the world, is like, "Oh, are you having a hard time? Here, let me play that part of the game for you." And then you screen share, and then your friend plays the game for you, which I think that's really lame. It's cool that the technology is there, but I don't want somebody doing it for me.
Yeah. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna lose as many times as it takes for me to get frustrated enough to finally give in and check Game FAQ to play this.
Game facts.
Game fact. So what? I spell it out. Same thing.
So you can use your Vita to play your PS4.
But I can do that with my PS3.
Sometimes. Apparently the PS4 will stream PS1, PS2, and PS3 games.
So does that mean that... Am I going to have to repurchase older titles that I already have?
Nobody knows!
Well, what the heck?
Nobody knows. We also don't know what sort of software this thing takes. Does it take DVD? Does it take Blu-ray? I don't know why it wouldn't take Blu-ray, because Blu-ray holds the most information, and the PS3 is doing just fine with that as it is. But they didn't tell us that. There's this one game that looked interesting that I'd never heard anything about. This Knack game.
The one they just premiered.
Yeah.
That looks interesting.
Because you're apparently this robot dude that's comprised of pieces of another robot dude. Well, not another robot dude.
Well, no, it
other
seems you can
parts.
get other parts to make yourself bigger to fight bigger bad guys.
I like the slightly cartoonish aspect of it. I think it and Watch Dogs.
Watch Dogs I want right now. Ever since I saw
they were the only two things I was particularly excited about, except Watch Dogs is coming out on the PC, PS3, 360, Wii U. It's coming out on the PS4 also.
Well, it's coming out on the PS4 first.
Yeah, but if it's coming out for all these other consoles too, and I already have all those other consoles, it better be really special for the PS4 for me to want to get it for the PS4, Other than that, oh boy, Diablo 3 coming to PS3 and PS4. Yay!
Yeah, but what about everybody who's already played Diablo 3 by now?
I mean, I know there's some people who haven't, but really? And then there's some shooters. And
Yay.
then there's some people who might work on the PS4. Like I see Konami and Koei Tecmo and Rockstar and 2K Games and Atlas and Sega and Bandai Namco.
And who else? What other name is on that list? What other name is on that list, Kaylin?
And Square Enix.
Oh, well, what do you know?
And Square Enix showed absolutely nothing of no importance at all whatsoever, though they say that they might come out with a new Final Fantasy within the next year or two. Yay! And then they proceeded to show the exact same tech demo that we saw last year. I don't know why they would do that, because we've already seen it. And yes, it's just a tech demo.
Well, yeah, it's like...
It's just a tech demo.
It's not just that it's a tech demo. It's the fact that, you know... Hey, guys, guess what? We're going to show up here at this press conference, and do we have anything to show? No. And it's really like, why did you guys even bother to show up if you had nothing to show?
Final Fantasy, you guys like Final Fantasy, right?
Don't talk to me.
We like talking about Final Fantasy.
No, I'm talking to Square Enix.
No, I know.
Yeah, just don't talk to me.
And I'm Square Enix, and I'm like, we like talking about Final Fantasy. Never mind.
Yeah, joke's dead.
Oh, joke's dead. Okay.
Anyway.
I use noises!
Yes, you do. Good for you. But, yeah, so, wrapping it all up, it's like, okay, what did we get out of this? We got a controller, a bunch of words about what they say they're gonna do, but we have no idea what the system looks like, what format it's gonna take, how much it's gonna cost.
I'm not actually seeing the utilization of their innovation.
Yeah.
I see a bunch of social networking, which, for the most part, I can already do if I want to.
Yeah.
I don't need to do it through my video game console. Because I'm personally still of the mindset that I'm okay with my video game console just playing video games. I know I'm the only person left on Earth who thinks like that, but
really, what I'm saying is, what did we really see? We didn't see much of anything.
No, nothing
we got
impressive.
a logo of adding a 4 instead of a 3 after the P and S. That's what we got.
Yep, like I'm sitting here thinking about something I can possibly add on to that, and that's the struggle, is that there is so much nothing going on here.
Yeah.
For their, 2 hours of presentation, that I am hard-pressed to find people who are actually impressed with what Sony gave us just the other day.
Well, how can I be impressed with, puffs of smoke?
Yeah, come back and talk to me when you actually have hardware and software to show off.
In the meantime, thanks for showing me Watch Dogs.
I mean, they showed the Unreal Engine. I mean, that's cool, where they just kind of dropped a whole bunch of bricks and showed that it can handle that many at one given moment in time.
Yeah, but that means what to me?
Well,
right now.
It'll mean more when it means, like, 200 characters alive moving on the screen at once.
Okay, so
I would like to see that in action,
exactly.
not
That's
a
what I was
bunch of, like,
getting at.
bricks falling on the ground.
Yeah, come back to me when you have this massive 200 character battle on screen.
Really, I think that this is more like... This press conference was probably more for the developers than it was for the fans. It was probably more to be like, hey developers, these are the tools that we can give you, please start working with it. If that's the case, and it was meant more for them than it was for us,
then why even hold the press conference to begin with?
Well, why make it live streamable in public, really?
Yeah. Because then it just comes across
it would almost
as an embarrassment.
It almost would have been more hype had it just been press releases coming out of the conference, like, oh man, what are these whispers we heard from the conference?
Yeah.
Oh, it's capable of doing this, this, and this. That might have been cooler, but as it stands, we've really got nothing, as gamers are concerned.
Right. So we have to wait for a real announcement before we can go ahead individually for us to get excited about this thing even at all.
I'm not terribly hyped. I'm okay with my PS3 right now.
I'm okay saving up for a Wii U.
Okay.
Okay. And I guess that's going to cover it.
I suppose so. And thank you again for sticking around with us for this past hour. Been real fun. I hope you guys.
If the noises were annoying, please let us know.
They were probably annoying. I probably will, if I use noises, use different noises.
Yeah. But we're working on it, and we're glad you guys are sticking with us while we work on it.
So, until we come back again next week, give us a follow on Twitter. I am at MarsGirlProd.
And I am at Josh Knight First.
And thanks again for joining us on Beyond the Black Rims.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
I'm Mars Girl.
And we'll see you next week.
Take it easy, guys.